Hey, what's up, Zimbabwe family? Okay, money. Where did money come from? Okay, but we're trying to talk about perhaps paper money, how paper money came to be about. Um, in the ancient times, in the olden times, gold and silver coins is what regarded as money, and everyone accepted this as money. It didn't matter which culture, pretty much most cultures, the silver and gold, and that's what money was. Money was coinage, gold, silver, coin, money. Because even in ancient excavations, when they excavate these old cities, they find gold coins, silver coins. Now, silver deteriorates at a slower rate, but it deteriorates nonetheless. Now, gold is pretty much indestructible because it doesn't really react with other metals. It doesn't oxidize, as they say. It's an inert metal, and it's also very malleable. You can work with it. You can turn it into small, thin strips, thin wire. It's got many uses. So, my understanding is, I can give you an example of, let's say you got Bulawayo and you got Harare. These two distances apart. Now, if you were to travel with your gold from Harare to Bulawayo, chances are, if you got robbed along the way, you lost everything. Because they took your gold, they took your silver, and you're left with nothing. So you had people like the Knights Templar who started this service of offering protection to merchants and travelers alike from point A to point B. You see. So you would go to the Knights Templar who lived in a certain fort, you talk about when you want to travel. And then they would have these convoys or, on dates on when to travel. You come, they tell you, okay, we are traveling on the 8th, so you stick around there. Even the concept of hotels and motels also, this is how it got kind of brought about, because you would go there, you stay 3 days until the time you needed to travel, and then you travel as a convoy, and you'd have the Knights Templar offering you protection from, bandits, criminals, whatever. So your gold was safe. Now, someone got clever, and then they said, look, instead of you taking your gold with you from point A to point B, you go from Harare to Bulawayo, from point A to point B, you leave your gold here with us in this fort. It's a secure fort. We will write up the amount of gold that you have, put our signature on it, and our stamp. And you can take this to the next fort, our fort, and you can show them this slip that we have your gold here, and they will give you the same gold equivalent, minus a small percentage for our services. So now you could, instead of carry all your gold, you deposit your gold in a fort, secure fort, and then you got a piece of paper. Now the thing is, if you got robbed of that piece of paper and someone tried to go and redeem that gold, you see, you'd have needed the signet and a lot of things to prove that it was you. Especially if you got robbed and then you went and reported that you actually got robbed. That paper became of no value. You would still have your gold. Right? So that's how fiat currency came about. That is how paper money came about. And that is why there's that promise to pay the bearer on demand, is to say, I promise to pay the bearer of this note. So the promise is to pay the money. So that's why you find that the bearer note itself is not money. It's a certificate that shows you've got a certain amount of money in the bank. Real money, real gold, real silver. As for the pound, isn't it? That's the thing. It's called pound sterling. So it was in silver that they dealt with, and it's still sterling. So these vouchers, pieces of paper, these certificates, these bond notes, this fiat currency, whatever you want to call it, as long as it is printed, it is not real money. It is representing the gold and silver that is in storage. So this is how it began. And now over time, you see what people ended up doing. They found it easier to carry these pieces of paper and trade these pieces of paper because they were reputable pieces of paper. From the time where you actually see, okay, this is the Bank of England, because that's, let's say, what the Knights Templar became. You know the Knights Templar are well known. So when you've got a Knights Templar certificate, it's acceptable everywhere because they've got forts everywhere. You can go and redeem your gold. And for those in the know, you could recognize, yes, that's an original Knights Templar certificate, so you must have that. So in the marketplaces, people started to trade these papers. Do you see what I'm saying? So the bankers ended up realizing something funny was happening. No one was coming to get the gold anymore. People were just trading these papers amongst themselves. No one was actually now going to check to see if the physical gold was there. So the trust had been developed. You see what I'm saying? So things just kind of evolved from there. You know, the banks and fiat currency. You see, that's how paper money came into being. So now we are in a place where there is no more gold attached or silver attached to the money. So what is giving the money's value anymore? Giving its money value anymore? So you find that America, when they came off the gold standard, you know, they made it a petrodollar to try and put oil as the value to it. Doesn't work. Fiat currencies do not work because this is the situation. America is now in debt, right? To make it worse off, this is the thing about the US dollar. The US dollar is being printed at credit by the Federal Reserve Bank. You know, the principal itself is being created and there's interest in it to pay on top. So if you, the government, come to me, the Fed, and then you say you want money, $100, I'll say fine, I'll borrow you $100, but I want $101 back. How are you going to find that $1 extra to pay me when I'm the one who's initially giving you the initial $100 and I'm saying I want $101 back? So that means when you want to pay the debt, you'll have to come back to me to borrow some more money at interest again. So it's a perpetual cycle of interest, of debt. So fiat currency is actually debt. So we are all trading in debt, not real money. It's debt, right? How do you get back to money? Well, the best thing you can do with your fiat currency is to buy gold, right? Buy actual gold, right? Buy actual gold. There are many companies who will, you know, I'm not saying shares and stocks. No. Buy actual gold. Actual gold, you know, gold coins, you know, from $25, $50, $100, gold coins. When you need to use money, you can always take a little bit of the gold, convert it into whatever currency you want to convert it into, and then do your business. But let the money stay in gold. Because if you leave the money in your bank account, it's $20,000, inflation, and every year, you know, the buying power of money goes down. Money buys less and less every year. It's never happened that money buys more and more every year. No, money buys less and less every year. But gold pretty much stays neutral. It pretty much stays even. But when you contrast gold and money, you can look at the charts. You can see gold is always on a steady kind of rise, and fiat currency fluctuates, but it's on a downward spiral. So that's fiat money for you, and that's how pretty much money came to be, paper money. So fiat money is not real because they can just print as much as they want. Gold is real money because they cannot just print gold. Work has to be put in, real work has to be put in for you to get the gold out, for you to get the silver out, for it to be minted into gold. So when you get to the concept of saying, I cannot buy with gold, yes, you can buy with gold because you can always convert gold into money. That's the thing. But we are fast coming to a place where it will not be so easy to buy gold because there's not a lot of gold in the world, and the wealthy have pretty much bought up all the gold, pretty much bought up all the gold. So that's my advice to anyone who's thinking of what do I do, what do I invest in, how do I save money. We all know, when we saved some money in the banks, it all disappeared. It all disappeared. But if you have physical gold bullion, physical gold coins, they cannot disappear. Cannot disappear. Because with certain companies, when you want your gold, they'll ship it to you. You pay for the cost of shipping and what. They'll ship it to you when you want it, if you want it. It depends on, types of companies you're dealing with. Like the Kruger Rand, you can buy that gold. You got the Canadian Maple also. You got even the US Treasury coins. And these are gold coins. 99.99 percent. That's about as pure as you can get. Gold. So gold is true. It's a true store of wealth, because it just doesn't fluctuate like fiat currency does. Because that's the thing with fiat currency, it loses value intrinsically every year. Every year, prices don't go down; prices go up. Right, and that's the thing. Your money keeps buying less and less because your wages are not increasing. Wages are not going up. Wages are not reflecting productivity. Across the world, in most systems. And that's the capitalistic system that we live under. If you've ever played Monopoly, you know what I'm talking about. That sooner or later, there's one person on the board who ends up owning everything. That's when the game is over. You all start off pretty much equally, but the system is designed, or the game is designed, that you end up with one person holding everything. So this system of capitalism got us into a place where now you've got 62 of the world's richest families in America pretty much, and Europe, owning more than half of the world's wealth. They've got more than half of the world's wealth and in their hands. 62 families. So as this game is played 4 years from now, 8 years from now, it's exponential to the point where probably you're going to be having around 21 or 22 families holding on to the world's resources. And it won't stop until people stop paying into the system or feeding the system. It's very difficult, it's very tricky, but there are ways and means out of it. But you'll have to do your own research on that, find out what other systems are there, so you can get out of this economic slavery that we are under. We are all under it, And money, the illusion of money, because money was real, but fiat currency is not. So when you get back to real money, you will understand what I'm talking about. So I advise you, if you want to save up money, buy a plot of land. It's a good investment. Buy a plot of land, it's a good investment. But if you can, buy gold coins. Buy gold coins. And silver coins. Because if you've got $5,000 worth in silver, it'll probably be about $6,000 5 years from now, or the buying power of it. 5 years from now, it might even double its buying power because of inflation. Fiat currency always loses value over time. These are principles. It cannot function any other way. Fiat currency cannot function any other way. Right? That's how it is. So we as Africans pretty much just adopted this banking system, this economic system from the West. We don't really fully understand it. Nobody does. Nobody does. If they say they do, it's probably a lie. Because if you really do understand the system, you would know that it's a fraudulent system. It's a system that is robbing people of their wealth. It's a system that has led the world into this situation where you should realize that the world should not be in debt to the bankers right now, because the bankers took our gold and they gave us paper. And the bankers have not yet given back this gold to the people. They've stolen this gold. They've made millions and billions and trillions of interest and profit that they are now lending to the world, indebting the world with our gold and their fiat currency. So we are being enslaved, yet our ancestors put this gold and silver in trust with these bankers, so we could have peace, so we could have good lives. But they negated these promises. So it is us versus them, the ones we entrusted, you see. So even things like your birth certificate have a deeper meaning than just being a registration of your birth. It's an entitlement to something that is God-given, that no man can take away. You see what I'm saying? So you have to do a little bit of more research into that. Find out what your entitlements are as a human being. Right? As a human being. So, yeah, we are being screwed. America is being screwed. Africans are being screwed. Everyone is being screwed. That's pretty much it. So, unless they're talking about gold, they're not talking about money. Unless they're talking about gold, they're not talking about your liberation. Because to be free, you must not be in debt. When you hold fiat currency, it's debt. It's not real money, it's debt. So I would suggest you convert your debt to real money as soon as possible. And when you do need to use money, convert your gold into these certificates, into these vouchers, into these bond notes, into these fiat currencies, and trade what you need to trade. But keep your savings in gold, physically in gold. Know where they are. in gold. That's my advice. It's time to get back your power. As a human being, as an individual, you have the God-given right to use money, not to use debt. You have the God-given right to use money, real money. So that's just trying to clear up on fiat currency, because guy asked me what's the difference between what is real money if you're saying fiat currency is not real money. So you have to look at how money came about. It was gold, and people didn't want to get robbed when they traveled from point A to point B. So these forts became the banks. You see what I mean? So the forts became the banks, and you got certificates to travel around with, the like. So that's my take on it. Holla at me.